1% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get pumped, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in they Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the Hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters gon' move. Whatever click you choose, you better
Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down! For those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. Normally, I come on here, I tell prison stories, and I talk about some of the things when I was on the street that led me to prison. There was a time when every Friday I would do what I called a free game Friday. And during those free game Fridays, I would spread a little information and kick a little game and give individuals who are out there in the streets, especially the youngsters, some wisdom in the same manner my older homies would do me and my younger homies when we was out there on the street, in an attempt to get us to move smarter and eventually move out of the streets altogether. So yesterday, I was talking to a homie of mine, a well-respected individual, right, who I have a lot of respect for. And he said, hey, chill, why don't you do the free game Friday videos no more, man? Basically he said something along the lines of, he felt that was necessary. And in the course of me just doing YouTube and running across individuals out there in the street, they would ask me that as well, right? So I think that, due to some people still interested in that, I'm going to hop back into those free game Fridays, right? And so the first one that I'm doing today is going to be on something that I've been seeing quite often on some of these YouTube channels when they're talking about whether it's a famous gang member got caught up in a crime and they break down the crime, or just a gang member whose case may seem interesting and they break down his crime, right? So what I'm seeing dudes get caught up on a lot is what's known as a Perkins operation. And basically what a Perkins operation is, it's a case from 1990, I believe, in Illinois, where you had an individual whose name was Charles Perkins. He was arrested on an unrelated crime. They put him in the cell with an undercover officer who pretended to be just another dude who happened to get arrested, right? And so in the course of a casual conversation, this dude, Charles Perkins, admitted to a murder, and he was ultimately convicted on that confession. So Charles Perkins, he appealed the situation, and the Supreme Court basically ruled that what the cops done was legal. Now this Perkins operation, as it's known now, is used quite often in California, right? And so even if you get arrested and you say, hey man, you know what, I don't want to talk, man, I want my lawyer, the police have to stop talking to you, but they still can then put you in the cell with an individual who's pretending to be a regular civilian who has also been arrested. And in the course of conversation, if you happen to talk about what you're in there for and this and that, the courts rule that that's legal. And we see a lot of this going on, man. A lot of dudes will get in jail, right? And whether it be stress, whether it be wanting to brag, or what make themselves seem cool, they will talk about what they're in there for. Now, in this Perkins operation, the dude posing as the police, he's not allowed to actively interrogate you. But the courts have ruled he can say things like, damn, man, I'm busted on some bullshit, man. Damn, what they got you in here for? And if you go to talking about your case, he can continue to, casually conversate with you back and forth and have you reveal information that will ultimately, of course, get you convicted, right? The thing is this, man, people have to realize that first and foremost, when you go to jail and you get arrested for a case, right, you don't even necessarily have to consider yourself a gang member. But if you if you are guilty or even think you are guilty, it is never in your best interest to talk to the police about anything, man. What trips me out is sometimes, like I said on some of these YouTube videos, you'll see these gang members, right, get arrested on a murder or whatever, and they go there and they have conversation back and forth with the police. If the police happen to show up at your doorstep and you're a gang member, 9 times out of 10, they not just coming over there on coincidence. It's because they have evidence against you, or they think they have evidence against you. So it's always in your best interest, man, to shut the hell up, man. Dudes may or may not know this, right? But the police are allowed during an interrogation to lie to you, to prevent you with false evidence, false statements, in order to get a confession, right? Now, I remember seeing a case not too long ago on YouTube, right, where the police happened to tell this individual, hey, man, we have witnesses who said they seen you shoot it. And then this individual goes on to say, oh, man, I only shot up in the air, and so on and so forth. Whole time the police was lying. They didn't have any evidence on this dude. But by this dude responding, trying to talk his way out of it, he actually talked his way into it, because the police didn't have any evidence he was there. They suspected he was, but by this individual saying, hey man, I only shot up in the air, he unknowingly put himself on the scene when all he had to do was shut up. And more than likely in 72 hours they would have released him for lack of evidence, right? So either way, it's never good to go in there and talk to the police about anything. And then it's never good to share information in there with other dudes who are locked up, because you always have individuals in there willing to trade what you did for their freedom. And I had that exact situation happen to me, man. I was locked up with a dude. He was an older Crip, and by me being younger, now we're in the county jail, mind you. This is, I've been locked up 5-6 months. This dude, talked about he had been to the pen a couple of times or whatever. I shared some information with this individual. He ended up writing the district attorney and said, hey man, I know some stuff about this guy's case, gave him my name and everything. I'm willing to come testify against this individual for some reduced time. And that's exactly what he done, right? So it's never wise to share any information at all whatsoever with anybody in prison, or in jail, or even in prison when you get locked up. You may have 2 years, and you might be in there talking about some street activities that you done on the street. You might be talking to an individual who has a life, and he's looking to try to get that life sentence took off, right? And with the information that you tell this dude, trying to brag and seem like you're with it, so on and so forth, might just get you brought back on some more charges. I don't know what they call it today, right? But when I was out there in the street and dudes was running around doing wrong, they used to call it dirt, man. Yeah, we used to go do some dirt, or we did some dirt last night. Well, my this is an analogy that I have on doing dirt, right? Let's just say you're in the house, right? And you're sweeping, and you sweep the dirt outside. Once you sweep the dirt outside, you leave it alone. You don't go back to it. You don't think about it. Continue to talk about it and go look at the dirt and so on and so forth. That's the same way you have to treat dirt in the street, man. Because when you do something, I know that dudes want their bragging points. I know that dudes want to be they want their reputation to shine, so on and so forth. But a lot of times, in the end, that comes up to bite you, man. I cannot tell you how many times I was locked up and heard a dude talk about his own homies telling on him for some stuff that he done later on down the line. He may have went and put some work in, done some dirt. He comes back the next day or two, he's bragging, letting his homies know, yeah, that was me last night that did whoop-de-whoop whoop over there on such and such street, right? Okay, everything's fine and dandy. Your homies is with you. They support you. They support the stuff that you're doing, because your enemies, of course, are their enemies. But later on, your homeboy, baby hothead, or whatever his name is, him and his girl go to the store, and they get caught trying to steal some meat about the store, or whatever it is, right? They arrest baby hothead, and now this dude, he got some drugs on him. He been up there, pillow talking with his girl. They take them down. Now suddenly, one of them or both of them knows about a murder that happened 7 months ago, and they give your name, and now you caught up on a murder that you possibly may have would have got away with if you had not shared information with your homie trying to be cool. Your homie gets caught, he don't want to go to jail, and suddenly he has a get out of jail free card in the form of telling them about your case, man. All this stuff will send the individual to prison for a very, very long time, man. So individuals that's out there doing dirt, the main thing is, man, you have to keep your mouth shut, especially when you get caught up and go to jail. Today, to keep it 100, today, it's not like the 80s or the 90s, man. It's cameras damn near everywhere. If you are foolish enough to commit a crime, impromptu crime, or a spur of the moment crime out there, your chances of getting cracked for that are already high, because there's cameras everywhere. There's cameras in all these businesses. A lot of homes and neighborhoods have cameras and stuff like that, and the police are just gonna go from door to door asking, hey man, does anybody have a camera? Does anybody have a camera? So your chances of getting caught are already high because you've committed a crime on the spur of the moment. You don't got your face covered up, you're in your regular car or whatever, so you're not prepared for this situation, and so it's going to be easy to identify you quicker, right? So it's already stacked against you in terms of just doing a crime, right? So with the added situation of going to jail, talking about your crime to people, or a plant that has been put in the prison, or a plant that has been put in jail to try to get information out of you, it's really, like I say, man, it really makes it extremely impossible to get away with anything nowadays, man. So, hey, that's just some little game, man. Hey, you can take my advice or you can learn the hard way. You already know what it is, man. It's your boy 16 to life, and this is your first free game Friday in 2026.